Now let's get to our big story. This past deadly weekend continues to hover over Portland like a toxic cloud that just won't go away. 3 days after a total of 10 people shot, 2 killed at 2 different awful events, we still have just a few answers. On top of that, police shot and killed another man over the weekend. Of particular concern, the 6 people shot and 1 killed here at Normandale Park in northeast Portland Saturday night. We now know a man living about a block away from the protest site was the one who police say opened fire. His name is Benjamin Smith. Late this afternoon, he was charged with murder and a number of other crimes. An arrest affidavit says that Smith approached a group of protesters, yelled at them, and demanded they leave the area. The protesters yelled back, and one of them pushed Smith after he confronted them aggressively. That's when Smith pulled out a gun and shot 5 people, including Brandy Lynn Knightley, also known as June. The affidavit says she was killed after being shot in the head at close range. Another person was shot in the neck and paralyzed from the waist down. Someone shot back at Smith and he was hit in the hip. He's in the hospital right now, but is expected to survive. Our Mike Benner is covering this and talked with both the police chief and the mayor today. Mike, let's start with something we criticized both of them for yesterday, not showing up at the park after the shooting or at that second shooting Sunday night. What they have to say about that?
Well, Mayor Ted Wheeler tackled that question, and he admitted no, he was not at Normandale Park. He was not in East Portland, where a mother and her kids were shot, and he was not in Southwest Portland, where police shot and killed someone. But he believes his absence should not be mistaken for a lack of caring. He says quite the opposite, in fact. He says he and his team have been working around the clock, and they've been doing so in collaboration with law enforcement. Take a listen.
I disagree with your characterization that we did nothing or that we haven't been present. I believe we have. I hear the anger and the frustration, and maybe more than anything else, the fear that people are expressing. And they need to know that their mayor takes this seriously, that I am prioritizing it, that I'm working with any partner who will work with me to address this issue. And that's what I've been doing all weekend, is working with people who will work with me to move towards a Portland where people don't have to look over their backs anymore.
Late this afternoon, we got an affidavit that spells out some of what police think happened. But Mike, you're a veteran crime beat reporter. A lot of people want to know, why does it take so long? Why does it take 3 days to get some of these details out?
Well, investigations of this magnitude take time. They don't necessarily move along quicker because there are a lot of eyes on the case or a lot of people are talking about it on social media. Mayor Ted Wheeler, DA Mike Schmidt, Chief Chuck Lavelle will be the first to tell you that they cannot get wrapped up in the high-profile nature of the case. Their job is to build a case, and that takes time, and they will release information when they can and not a minute sooner. The last thing they want to do is release information too quickly and then have to walk it back because the investigation took a different turn. Pat?
All right. Thank you, Mike Benner. Last night, we asked you to weigh in on the shootings and Portland leaders' responses to them. We set up a voicemail line for this show, 503-226-5090. A lot of you did leave messages on the topic. Thank you. It definitely hit a nerve.
Hi, my name is Bruce. I just saw your story on the shootings. Personally, I think the whole city council, the mayor, are ineffective. I'm tired of seeing them when they do show up on the news with these fake smiles that are so rehearsed, telling us how much they've done. They are not doing anything, and it's hurting this city.
On the other hand, some people think we were a little bit too hard on the mayor, and that's okay. You can absolutely disagree with us. It's all part of the conversation.
Hi, this is Debbie. I think it's crazy that you think that the mayor should respond to the shootings. That doesn't send me any kind of a message. He's got his lieutenants and his sergeants, and they are the ones that respond to the shootings. They give the information to him. He reports to us. Okay,
I hear for you. Thanks for sharing your opinion. Here's another that made our hearts just stop when we heard this one. It's chilling and it's heartbreaking. It's a fearful message from a mom.
I'm Stacy. I am a single mom. I'm frozen in fear. I'm paralyzed. I have panic attacks when my son wants to play outside. because I'm worried that he's going to get shot. I have to make a choice every time he asks me for grape juice, whether it's worth it to go to the store, not just because of this virus, but because it might be the time he gets shot and I lose him forever.
That is hard to listen to. Stacy, thank you for sharing your fears with us. Those are obviously very real fears that we know so many people in the city have right now, especially in areas where shootings are happening outside people's front doors every night. We do hear you, and that's why we're going to keep pressuring city leaders to do better. As we learn more about the awful shooting Saturday night at Normandale Park, you may have noticed the reporting that revealed someone with the protesters had a rifle and shot the gunman to stop his rampage, which made some of us and some of you wonder, who brings a rifle to a protest? Well, it turns out it's not that unusual. Someone shared this picture from the Hawthorne district of Portland last April when a group took over an intersection, blocked traffic, and insisted everyone listen to their point of view. Let's zoom in on the person toward the front. See the rifle there? Now, an obvious question is, can you do that? The answer is, yeah, maybe. We checked with law. In much of Oregon, you can carry a loaded gun in public as long as it's not concealed, unless you have a permit. But Portland and Multnomah County have stricter laws, and while you can also carry a gun in public here, it must be unloaded, and the clip for the ammo must be unloaded as well. So it depends on whether that gun was loaded or not. We've had other examples of gun toting by protest supporters and those who don't like them. In the spring of 2020, a man named Aaron Danielson, a supporter of the right-wing group Patriot Prayer, was shot and killed by a man named Michael Reinhold after protests and rallies in downtown Portland. Reinhold was a self-described anti-fascist who said he provided security for racial justice protests in Portland. He was later shot and killed by U.S. Marshals who were trying to arrest him. I'm not trying to compare that shooting to Saturday night, but I am pointing out that both were politically charged and both involved guns. Now, I'm sure the people gathering at this past Saturday would say, thank heaven somebody had a rifle, or even more people could have been shot. And that may well be true. But am I the only one who finds all this shocking? Have we really reached the point where people rallying for something or against something have to bring their own rifle squad to make sure they have the firepower to match the potential threat from the other side? I'm afraid the Saturday night shows the answer is yes. That picture from last April says it's been going on for a while. I don't want to believe that, but that doesn't mean it's not true. And I'm not sure what it means for our city and the chances of a peaceful future. What are your thoughts? We're a different sort of news program. We do want to hear from you. You can email me at thestory@kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail. The number is 503-226-5059.